What's up, guys? Gonna hit on the highly debated topic of Strider versus Sebenza. I wasn't gonna do this video. I didn't want to do this video for a while just because of how, I don't know, how passionate people are about this. But I figured, what the hell. I just saw a thread on Blade Forums, yet another thread, Strider versus Sebenza, where they always, of course, compare a company to a single knife. It's always Strider versus Sebenza, when it should be SMF versus Sebenza or S&G versus Sebenza. Yeah, whatever, it's all semantics. Anyway, people always ask, what should I get, Strider or Sebenza? Strider or Sebenza? And really, the only answer is that there is no answer. That it all boils down to personal preference. And I know people don't want to hear that, because then the full weight of the decision is right back on you. People love for other people to make decisions for them. I know I do. When I first started out in knives, my first instinct was to ask other people what knife I should get, because let's face it, it's much easier to ask somebody that already knows than it is to do the hours of research and to make your own opinion. And sometimes you just don't have the time to do that. So, of course, you want to ask somebody that you think knows. But in this case, you can't just ask somebody and them, with a good conscience, give you an answer, because there is no answer. I'm talking to a guy now that he's a local guy that wants to know this exact thing. Should he get an SMF or should he get a Sebenza? And I don't know what to tell him, because I don't want to be responsible for him not being happy with one of his knives, you know? It all comes down to what you want to use the knife for. If you want a knife that is tough as nails, that can do pretty much anything you throw at it except slice, let's face it, you can get a Strider. If you want a knife that is going to be perfect for EDC tasks, and it's still really tough, but you don't want to go chop wood with it like I did the SMF today, then you want a Sebenza. And really, that's the whole, that's it. That's all there is to it. But it's not as simple as that, and I know it's not as simple as that. And that's why I always like telling people, if you can, get both. And if you can't get both, then pick the one that you think you'll like the most and buy it first. Because if you buy that one and you find you don't like it, both of these knives have extremely good resale values. So you'll eventually get your money out of it. It probably won't take long. I mean, I've seen Striders and Sebenzas go within minutes of being on the forums. So that's a good way to try and find out what your preference is. If you were going to ask me what knife, if I could have one, what knife would it be out of these two? The clear winner would be a Sebenza. Both of these knives have pros and cons, but I just feel like the Sebenza has way more pros than the Strider does, and I also feel that it has way less cons than the Strider does. So just because this has more pros and less cons than a Strider does doesn't mean that this is the better knife. It just means that the points that I look at for a quality knife are more, I don't know, how should I say this? I don't know, I don't want to say it like that, because that makes it sound like the Strider's not good. Let's just say my tasks are more suited to a Sebenza. So if I had to pick one for the rest of my life, of course it would be a Sebenza, and I'll tell you why. I don't need to chop wood with a folder every day. I don't need to pry myself out of a car every day. What I do need is to be able to cut very well, cut really efficiently, and the Sebenza does that. It also does it with a very, very high attention to detail and fit and finish. This knife is fit and finished better than I would say 90% of the customs that I've ever handled. And I've handled a lot. I've been to Blade Show and all that, so I have handled a lot of knives. And honestly, the Sebenza's fit and finish is probably the highest that I've ever witnessed. So if you're looking for machine quality and tight tolerances and stuff like that, then you're going to want the Sebenza. But if you're looking for rugged toughness and the cool factor, let's face it, Striders are pretty cool, then you want the Strider. And I know that muddies the water a lot. It did for me also, so that's why I ended up getting both. But the one thing that really, I don't know, is really important to me is the lock geometry. I love Striders and I carry them, but if I were to choose one knife, if I only had $500 to spend on one of these knives and that was going to be it, then I would choose the Sebenza, of course, like I said. And one of the main reasons I do that is because the lock geometry on the Strider, while it's very tough and it will withstand a lot of abuse, it doesn't wear that well. It's extremely fast to wear. And if you're like me and you play with your knives a lot and you're constantly flicking them open and closing them and flicking them open, then I would say you could wear through the usable life of your lock within a year or less. And that's just my opinion. Don't take that as fact and go email Strider and say, I heard so and so said your locks are shit. I didn't say that. They will wear extremely fast. And while the guy that bought the Strider is sending his SMF off to get a bigger stop pin put in, meanwhile the guy who bought the Sebenza, his lock hasn't moved at all. So that's more food for thought. If you do a lot of hard use stuff, and I hate using the term hard use, I think it's cliche, but if you do a lot of hard use stuff, then the SMF is going to be good for you. But I live in a college town, I go to school, and I just don't find myself chopping wood all that often, if ever. What I do find myself doing is cutting open packages and cutting the extremely long straws that are at the campus. They give you straws that are like 2 foot long, so I always cut those down. Breaking down cardboard boxes, opening clamshell packages, all the regular stuff that normal people do. This is what I reach for every time. So, I know it's a heavy topic, and I didn't want to pick a clear favorite. The second I thought about making this video, I told myself I did not want to pick a clear favorite, and look what I've done. So, take it for what it's worth, which isn't much, because I'm just a regular guy like everybody else. But if I were to choose one clear favorite, I'm going to go against my own rules. It would definitely be the Sebenza, for the reasons I pointed out. The Striders are really cool and they're really tough, and it's fun to have a knife that's this beefy and everything, and this rugged. But honestly, I don't find myself using the knife to its full potential unless it's something that I do for fun, like chopping through 2x2s like I did today. If I carry this every day, I end up using it for the same type of chores that I use the Sebenza for, except the Sebenza does those chores 10 times better than the SMF. So take it for what it's worth, like I said, and this isn't the gospel truth or anything like that. I know I say that a lot in my videos, but I just don't want to sway somebody one way or the other. I just want to give my opinion. So I think that's all I'm going to say about the Strider, the SMF versus Sebenza topic. I don't want to hit on this much more because it is such a, I don't know, it's a very, very touchy topic. So thanks for watching, guys, and feel free to drop a comment and tell me how stupid I am if you feel like doing that. And I don't know if you own both of these knives or you only own one of them, then drop me a comment and tell me which one you think is better. That's always fun. So I'll talk to you later. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next